All right. All right, everybody. Welcome back to Cool Beans Hot Stuff and another episode of Morbid Mondays. Today we're going to continue our local legends series that I've been doing, going through all 50 states, going through what I feel like the best local ghost stories and spooky legends are from each state. So we're going to continue that today with Arkansas. 2 weeks ago, I think it was, yeah, 2 Mondays ago, we did uh, the Arkansas cryptid stream. And today we're going to do the locals, myths, and legends. And then we'll move on to the next state and do more cryptids and more local legends from whatever state alphabetically, Jesus, comes after Arkansas, which I have no idea. But we'll figure it out. I'll figure it out and we'll get it all done. But yeah, for those of you who are joining for the first time or coming back, thanks for tuning in to the live stream on Kick, Rumble, X, Twitch, wherever you are. And if you're watching this video on YouTube, hope you enjoy the content. If you do, then please like and subscribe, especially if you like the cryptid, local legends, all that kind of stuff. Spooky ghost stories, shit like that. That's what we do here every Monday. So if you enjoy that kind of stuff, then tune in live or check out the YouTube videos. So let's go ahead and pop up. Okay. And I don't have anything that we're popping up to. There we go. All right. So I got to tell you about Arkansas. There is a shit ton of legends in Arkansas. So far I've done Alabama, Arkansas, Alaska, and Arizona. So Arkansas is my fourth. Yeah. And I don't think any of the other three, Arizona, Alaska, or Alabama, I don't think a single one of them had as many local legends for me to sift through. It was pretty crazy. Yeah. Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas. I still need to put all my Alabama spots up there. But yeah, man, it was trying to find the exact ones that I wanted. I had to read through a lot of different stories, and it was a lot of fun. There was a lot of good stuff. And Arkansas is really creative. I will tell you that much. I think I said that on the cryptid stream. Y'all got some of the goofiest fucking cryptids that I've seen as of yet in Arkansas. And y'all give them some goofy ass names too. And I love it. It's so much fun. But you guys got some really crazy ghost stories down there too. A lot of history down in Arkansas. So the first one we're going to start with is good old fashioned haunted hotel. Because why not? By the way, does it snow in Arkansas? I had no fucking idea that it snowed in Arkansas. I got to look on the map. Where exactly is Arkansas? That's one of those states where it's kind of like general direction, but you never really think about it. Okay, it's right next to us here in Tennessee. I've driven through it multiple times going this way, so I should probably know where it is. But yeah, I didn't know it fucking, I guess in northern Arkansas then, yeah. Wherever the Crescent Hotel is. So y'all, again, you guys got a whole bunch of haunted hotels in Arkansas. That's like a normal thing, I guess, for Arkansas. Haunted hotels all over the fucking place. And in Eureka Springs is where the Crescent Hotel is, right? Arkansas. Okay, and that's in the north. All right, so that makes sense here. Let's save that to Arkansas Spooky Sites. Nice. Okay, and let's read about the Crescent Hotel. So here it is. This is their website. I really like this little video that they got going where it goes through all the seasons and shit. It's a very pretty hotel, all the trees in the back. And then when it snows, watching when it snows, gets super creepy. Not as creepy. It still doesn't beat the Shining Hotel. I forget the name of it, but the Shining Hotel in Colorado, when it's snowing, is way fucking creepier. And I've actually been to that one. Never been to this one, but definitely got to go check it out since it's so close to me. So Crescent Hotel was at one point nominated for America's Best Haunted Hotel and actually been nominated numerous times. This was in 2024 was the last time it was nominated. I don't know if it won. I don't think it did, but bucking for it. Next time they do, I didn't know that was a thing. The best haunted hotel in America. Next time that pops around, I'll vote for these guys. So, why the Crescent Hotel is known as America's most haunted hotel. The Crescent Hotel's haunted reputation dates back to its colorful and mysterious past. Over the years, guests and staff had reported countless strange occurrences, from unexplained footsteps and ghostly apparitions to lights flickering with no rational cause. With a history that includes time as a former hospital run by infamous Norman Baker. That guy even sounds bad. Norman Baker sounds like a psycho. I don't know why, but that word Norman, really Norman mixed with any last name, sounds like he's probably a psycho. It's no wonder the Crescent is a hotspot for paranormal activity. All right, so they fully embrace their haunted history by offering ghost tours every night year round. That's pretty cool. From family-friendly tours designed to give younger guests a glimpse into the hotel's eerie past to expert tours that delve deep into paranormal phenomena. There's something for everyone. Expanded tours offer access to more areas of the hotel, while the Midnight Paranormal Investigation invites the brave to explore after dark. For the ultimate experience, the Lockdown event shuts the hotel off to regular guests, plunges it into darkness, and allows participants to investigate alongside experts in an unforgettable, immersive adventure. All right, well, that's pretty fucking cool. So, yeah, this is again from the Crescent Hotel. Oh, hey, what's going on, Razor? I didn't see you there. Did you just send those messages in? Hopefully. But yeah, man, what's going on? Hope you're having a good day today. Oh, that's really awesome, man. New diet and going to the gym. Yeah, man, that's a heck of a life change for sure, man. Yeah, man, the diet, I don't know, are you cutting weight, gaining weight? What kind of diet are you doing? And then you doing like bulking in the gym, you bulking up, getting some muscle. But either way, good for you, man. That's a really good change to have in life, man. Fucking, I always advocate for that, man. You really got to have a fit lifestyle, keeps you mentally snappy and aware, keeps you happy, honestly, in my opinion, man. I work out every single day. No fast food. Oh, that's a very good rule. Yeah, fast food. No bueno. I mean, I can't talk, especially right now. I'm bulking right now, so I eat a fuck ton of, not a fuck ton, but every Saturday I go get Wendy's, but it's once a week. So, but I go get like 3 burgers when I go to Wendy's. So it is a lot of food. So no soda. That's a really good one too. Yeah. When I'm bulking, I drink soda. It's liquid calories. So it really helps. I mean, it helps you gain weight is what it does. Air fryer though. That's good. My cutie pie uses an air fryer. She cooks everything in air fryer. So does my little brother. I mean, I don't know much about air frying, but I am told it is a healthier way to eat. So, and it does taste really good too. Like I've had bacon out of an air fryer and it's fucking delicious. So good for you, man. What inspired you to go on the new diet? Okay, so here, let's hop into some of the ghost stories. So that's the juicy stuff. That's the stuff y'all want to get to, right? The Crescent Hotel ghost stories. Okay, so the Victorian 1886 Crescent Hotel and Spa in Eureka Springs, Arkansas, hosts a wide variety of spirits. It is said that after the skeleton frame of hotel had been constructed in the 1880s, that one of the Irish stonemasons plunged to his death in what is now room 218. Burp. This room proves to be the most spiritually active room in the hotel and has attracted television film crews for decades because of the quantity and quality of the ghost sightings reported. Throughout the history of the Victorian Hotel, employees have referred to this entity as Michael, a classified poltergeist due to the nature of the unexplained activity. All right, wow, geez. Guests have witnessed hands coming out of the bathroom mirror, cries of a falling man in the ceiling, the door opening then slamming shut, unable to be opened again. The intrigue of this activity had drawn guests to specifically request the historical accommodations of room 218 for the chance of experiencing something. In the hotel's crystal dining room, many employees have encountered playful spirits in Victorian dresses. That's kind of spooky. Fuck that shit. I don't know. I don't know what it is about Victorian dresses, but ugh. One holiday season, while the dining room was closed, the grand Christmas tree and packages underneath moved from one end of the room to the other. The next morning, employees found the tree and packages moved with chairs circling and facing the newly placed holiday symbol. Another time, employees returned in the morning to find the dining room in perfect order except for menus scattered throughout the room. Yet another time, a waitress looked into the huge mirror between the doors from the dining room to the kitchen and saw a man and woman in Victorian garb facing each other in a wedding. The groom turned and made eye contact with the waitress, and then the couple faded away. The waitress quit her position shortly after this incident. Another commonly reported paranormal activity is a man in Victorian clothing sitting at a table near the open window saying, "I saw the most beautiful woman here last night, and I am waiting for her to return." Many have recounted seeing apparitions in Victorian ball attire dancing around the room during the wee hours of the morning while the room was closed and dark. Oh, wow. Interesting. In the 1930s, the haunted hotel in Eureka Springs became an experimental cancer hospital. Dr. Norman Baker. Okay, so this fucking guy. I don't know why, but with a name like Norman Baker, I feel like he had to kill a few people, right? I think it's because of Psycho, the movie Psycho. Norman, wasn't that Psycho's name, right? From the movie Psycho? I think it was something like that. I got a whole bag of Lifesavers that I just bought and I'm super stoked about because I finished my bag of lemon heads. So now we're moving on to gummy Lifesavers. So, like I said, I'm bulking. So, I'm on a diet too, but my diet is eat everything in sight. All right. Dr. Norman Baker, claiming to be a licensed physician, examined cancer patients in the hotel's basement while charging unsuspecting families their life savings. Ah, what a sneaky, dirty fuck. Tisk tisk, Norman, you fucking prick. Several apparitions from the hotel visit the hotel daily. Oh, several apparitions from the hospital, visit the hotel daily. Dr. Baker has been seen in the hotel lobby. Is that's all he did? He just, okay, well, I mean, I was figuring with his ghost still around, it was some kind of like, House on Haunted Hill type shit, right? Where he like murdered a whole fucking staff or like was doing bizarre experiments or something. It turns out he was just a fucker that screwed people over. But whatever, I was expecting like something more hardcore. I watched way too many horror movies. He is described as a man in a purple shirt and white linen suit matching photographs of an infamous entrepreneur. A nurse pushing a gurney residing in Dr. Baker's old morgue area is known to squeak and rattle down the halls of the hotel. A hotel maintenance man witnessed all the washers and dryers mysteriously turn on in the middle of the night. The laundry room is located next to Dr. Baker's old morgue, which still contains his autopsy table and walk-in freezer. Housekeepers report meeting Theodora in room 419. She introduced herself as a cancer patient of Dr. Baker's and vanishes after courtesies are verbally exchanged. Steve Garrison, a cook at the hotel, swears he doesn't drink on the job. In fact, he doesn't drink, period. However, Garrison may have been tempted by two strange encounters in the kitchen of the haunted hotel's crystal dining room. One morning, while slicing and dicing vegetables, he looked up and saw a little boy with pop bottle glasses, dressed in old-fashioned clothing and knickers, skipping around the kitchen. That would freak me out. Like, kids' ghosts, I don't know what it is, right? Because, like, normal kids, like, not super scary. Maybe unless you're like watching that Weapons movie. I haven't seen it yet, but everybody's saying really good things about it. I'm so fucking uber excited to watch that movie because little kids' ghosts, man. Little kids aren't scary. You would think like in normal life, right? Here's like puppy dogs and kitty cats, little kids, then women, then men, right? Like that's the number one person statistically you need to be afraid of, right? Like men are they commit, what is it, like 70 to 80% of the homicides, whatever, violent crime, it's way high up there. I don't know the exact statistic, but in real life, that's who you should be afraid. And then, lions, tigers, bears, oh my, everything else with big, giant, gnarly ass teeth. Yeah. Well, that whole thing like flip-flops when it comes to ghosts. When it comes to ghosts, dude ghosts are like whatever, like not really scary. It's like, ooh, you fucking dude ghost, fucking pansy. And then, women ghosts, though, are a lot scarier, especially if they're Korean or Japanese or Chinese or really any Asian girl that's a ghost is fucking terrifying. That's like numero uno, don't fuck with that shit. And then it's little kids, especially like little girls. Like, fuck that shit. That's like uber scary. That's too scary. That's that shit is top of the scary totem pole. And then I guess puppies and kittens are still on the bottom because, a ghost puppy and a ghost kitten, I don't know, that's still find a way to be adorable. But yeah, little kids, that flip-flops, they're the top of the scary pyramid. So I would start drinking too. I mean, if I was him, I would start drinking harder because I already drink. But another morning, Garrison flipped on the lights to begin the day's preparations when some or all of the pots and pans came flying off their hooks. The Crescent Hotel has so many ghostly tales to tell that tours of this historic place in the Ozarks are held throughout the year. That's an image of the morgue. Huh? They even got painted right there, morgue. Interesting. And then it goes back into their ghost tours. So that's the Crescent Hotel. Aside from Mr. Dr. Norman Baker here, and what was it, Michael plunging to his death, there's nothing really, there's no other like super scary history to it. But for some reason they got a shit ton of ghosts. So I mean, that's cool though. Give me a second. Heartburn. These lifesavers are kicking my ass. I only had one and it's already like, ugh. I gotta eat healthier too, Razor. We need to start eating more like liquid calories with yogurt, stuff like that. So, but, I mean, when I'm bulking, I can't get rid of the candy. I fucking love the candy. Back here. Oh, okay. Okay, so we got that on our map, the Crescent Spawn Hotel. For those of you who might be new or just watching this, I do a little map. There's Arizona, and then we got Alaska up here, all the spooky spots in Alaska. So if you're ever in the area, what is this? What's that? Oh, Spirit Lake, that's right. Take that out of favorites, yeah. Don't need a little heart there. Well, I guess I also have on this map, the haunted lakes, because we just did a haunted lake stream. If you're interested, you can go check that out on YouTube. And supposed to be doing a number 2 here next month, so stay around for that. But that's the Crescent Hotel. So our next spooky spot is, I had to do the next one because the next one's called Ghost Mountain. All right. And with a fucking name like Ghost Mountain, the whole, I kind of had to. So I didn't read a lot about Ghost Mountain. I just said, all right, well, it's fucking called Ghost Mountain. So let's go with it because, I mean, it's about, it's about ghost stories and shit. That would be silly to not check out Ghost Mountain. But Ghost Mountain, Arkansas. How many places can say they have a haunted mountain? As far as I'm aware, not many. I've heard of UFO mountains in Alaska. They have a mountain. I forget the name of the mountain that supposedly has a UFO base underneath it. Bigfoot conveniently is also seen on that mountain pretty regularly. In Arizona, they have Suspicion Mountain, which has a tribe of cannibals living in there maybe, plus also maybe aliens, plus also potentially lizard people. And a lot of people have died up there. Oh, and also potentially a gold mine and a thunder god that lives under the mountain that protects the gold. So they got a lot going on in Superstition Mountain. It's kind of jam-packed over there. It's a little bit densely populated with ghosts and shit. Well, monsters and shit, but no ghosts. No Ghost Mountain. This is our first haunted mountain. So let's check it out. The Haunted Arkansas Mountain. I always want to say Arkansas whenever I see Arkansas. Arkansas or Arkansas. Sounds way better than Arkansas. The way it's spelled, I mean, that isn't how you spell the word Arkansas. That's how you spell the word Arkansas or Arkansas. But the Arkansas Mountain. On a gentle wooded ridge of the Ozarks overlooking the town of Fayetteville, Arkansas is the Fayetteville Confederate Cemetery. I paused on that. Paused at the wrong spot there. The final resting place for hundreds of men who gave their lives during Civil War battles in the northwest part of the state. Okay, so see, that has a case for being a lot more haunted than that Crescent Hotel, right? Motherfuckers, a lot of folks died over here probably. Officially listed as East Mountain, the locals call the ridge Ghost Mountain. Not as famous as other battle sites like Gettysburg, Manassas, or Vicksburg, this was nonetheless one of the most violent and desperately contested sites of the war. Okay. The men's original burial places were where they fell when after the battle. Soldiers of the victorious side or civilians from the area hurriedly interred the bodies in shallow makeshift graves, trying to prevent disease and the stench of decay. In 1878, the Southern Memorial Association of Washington County established a cemetery and began the process of exhuming the bodies from the area. The Confederates were buried here, and the fallen Union soldiers were interred in the Fayetteville National Cemetery. Okay, let's hop over here before we keep reading. East Mountain. No. Fuck off. East Mountain. Okay. East Mountain, Arkansas. Not popping up. That's definitely not it. Oh, that's because I used the wrong dealio for it. AR, yep, that's right. Okay. East Mountain, Arkansas. There we go. Okay. It said that was near Fayetteville, though, yeah? That don't look nowhere near Fayetteville. Yeah, Fayetteville's over here. Alright, we might have to do some sleuthing, or save this one for later is what we might have to do. That's Fayetteville, right? Okay, here, let me type. Where the fuck is Fayetteville? Yeah, right here. Black Oak, Lyman. Okay, we're going to have to keep reading and then see if we can get some other details of where this guy is. This is a mystery. Where did they... Cemetery... Fayetteville National Cemetery. Okay, okay. Let's keep reading. Let's see if we can find any more clues. There are a number of homes just down the hill from the cemetery, and the residents often report seeing unusual lights floating around the ridge. There are also numerous reports by residents and visitors alike of strange anomalies showing up in photographs taken within the cemetery. Even more famous, though, is the legend of the Burning Bride of Ghost Hollow. Oh, I read about this one too. Okay. Directly across the slender dirt road from the Confederate cemetery is a much smaller cemetery, the Walker Cemetery. Is a family burial plot of land much smaller than its neighbor. Here lies the body of David Walker. In the 1860s, he was an Arkansas state senator, 3 times state Supreme Court justice, and one of the founders of the University of Arkansas, and served as a colonel in the Confederate Army during the war. He was married to Jane Lewis Washington, third cousin of George Washington. Buried here next to him are his parents and a few of his close relatives. In 1872, Judge Walker had a large... Okay, we don't need to know, like, this dude's whole life story, yeah. Okay, so soon after the happy couple moved into their big-ass house, strange things began to happen. Mostly small things, items disappearing then reappearing several days later. Unexplained moaning noises, doors slamming closed for no reason. Then the couple became aware they could no longer find hired help. When the last housemaid quit, they inquired to learn why nobody would work for them. They learned the African American community considered the home haunted because of a horrible accident that happened there years before. Shortly after the Civil War ended in 1865, a man and his new fiance moved to Fayetteville from Fort Smith, trying to start a new life after his hard service in the Confederate Army. They constructed a small home on the exact same spot of land as the Walker built house. They were married in the house one cold winter evening, and after the guests left, the bride of 1 hour, still wearing her wedding dress, leaned over the fireplace to stir the fire. Oh, shit. You know what's going to happen? Got it. A spark popped onto her dress, and set it ablaze. Running and screaming hysterically out of the house, she ran down the ridge, and having ran through the grounds which would later become the Walker and Confederate cemeteries, she fell down and died in agony. Man, that's a bummer. From that day on, there have been reports of people seeing her apparition running through both cemeteries and hearing her screams as she over and over relives her tragic wedding night. Unfortunately, more tragedy plagued Ghost Mountain. In 1932, a family lived in a small log cabin near the cemeteries. One night, the husband came home very drunk to his wife, who was caring for a sick infant. The baby cried incessantly no matter what the mother tried, and the husband, incensed that he couldn't sleep because of it, suddenly grabbed the baby, stumbled outside, and threw the baby down the water well. Oh, what a dick. The wife went into hysterics, yeah, grabbed the well rope and jumped into the well to save the child. The drunken father picked up a nearby axe and chopped the rope, leaving his wife and child in the well to die. Oh, this guy sounds like a real ass face, right? What a fucker. It was several days later when his employer came to investigate why he had not been to work. Seeing the dangling, chopped well rope, he looked down and saw in the dim light the floating bodies. It is assumed the husband fled the area as he has never been found. Some say the stories are just myths. There's nothing strange about East Mountain. Others insist the stories are not. One thing that is for certain to this day, the stories remain a source of fear for those living in around Ghost Mountain. Ooh. We still need to find where the fuck East Mountain is, though. They call it East Mountain, and then what was the cemetery? Here, the Walker Cemetery, yeah? Where the Walker Cemetery. Okay. Let's find that first. Walker Cemetery. Nope, not gonna give us that neither. What if they just Ghost Mountain? Nope. And no East Mountain. There's East Mountain Street. East Mountain Cemetery. There we go, right there. Okay. So East Mountain Cemetery. We're going to put it right there. Boom. Okay. And save to Arkansas Spooky Sites. All right. So our map is filling up now. Okay. So that was the Ghost Mountain, which is Fayetteville. Fayetteville itself seems to have a shit ton of haunted shit. Like, y'all just got all kinds of shit. Fayetteville is almost like the Superstition Mountain from Arizona. That's basically what Fayetteville is for Arkansas. Y'all just got way too much shit in that town that's fucking people up. The Inn at Carnal Hall is also located in Fayetteville, originally built in 1905 as a woman's dorm on the University of the Arkansas campus. The Inn is a 50-room hotel. Its founder, Ella Carnal, was an English professor who died suddenly of typhoid fever and is said to be seen floating the halls. Okay, so you can go get that. Tilly Willie Bridge. Although the old Tilly Willie Bridge was demolished several years ago, visitors have continued to have strange encounters near the White River on South Wilson Hollow Road. Legend has it that in 1970s, a woman drove off the bridge along with her children, killing everyone. A phantom car has been seen driving across the bridge, and her apparition has been spotted in a white dress, twirling in a nearby field. We'll get to that here in a minute. You guys also have the Arkansas Air and Military Museum. Guests travel back in time at the state's largest and most fascinating aviation collection. Located at Drake Field, the historic hangar that houses the museum is one of the nation's few remaining all-wood structures from the World War II era. It is also one of the most continuously haunted places in northwest Arkansas. It's reported to have at least one male spirit, likely an aviator, who makes regular appearances. He's usually seen in the museum library. Okay, and then you guys have no shortage of cemeteries. But this one was a pretty interesting one that I had to read about. The Yacht Club Killer. All right, so we're going to switch gears here and get to the Yacht Club Killer. In 1948, a freshman at the University of Arkansas, Henry Booker H.B. Duty. Oh, please let this guy be the killer. Please let a dude named H.B. Duty be the killer. That would be awesome. So H.B. Duty took his own life with mercury cyanide poisoning. That's a bummer. Maybe he didn't think that last name was as funny as we did. Afterwards, it was discovered that he left a note directing investigators to a secret fountain pen. Inside contained the combination to a lockbox, in which there was a note confessing to the 1946 Texarkana Moonlight murders. Though Duty was never officially deemed the Phantom Killer, he took the lives of 5 people and wounded 3. The site he committed suicide at was 617 North College, where the Fayetteville Yacht Club food truck court stands today. Visitors almost always claim to experience amazing food at the location, and some have even testified to seeing a mysterious teenager with an older sense of style wolfing down Dot's Nashville hot chicken. Ooh, get yourself some hot chicken even when you're a ghost. Yeah, so here, we need to type in Yacht Club Fayetteville. The Rednecks Yacht Club? No, that's not it. Oh, you know what? We're not going to find it, and I can tell you why. We'll get to that in a minute. But so anyways, yeah, we'll keep reading about Mr. Yacht Club, Mr. Duty here. And the Yacht Club Killer, or the Texarkana Moonlight Murders. Oh, yeah. Yeah, when you have an underreactive thyroid or under or overreactive anything, you definitely got to be on specific diets for that, for sure. Yeah, but I mean, that's interesting. I mean, so what's specific with the diet? Is it like no meat, all vegetables, lots of fruits and veggies, Mediterranean diet, that sort of thing? I know Mediterranean diet, people follow that one quite a bit. It does help supposedly with losing a lot of fat. And I don't know about gaining muscle, but that's a very common diet that a lot of people follow is the Mediterranean one. The Mediterranean or the DASH diet, I heard a lot of. I did a short stream on diets for like mental health, diets that like help well with your mental health and your what's the word I'm looking for here? Not your brain capacity, but I don't know, with your mind, all right? So you don't forget the names of things when you're on stream, right? There is a diet for that. And Mediterranean diet and DASH diet are both supposedly really good diets for that sort of thing. So, but yeah, that's a good reason to diet. It is, for sure. When you got an underlying health condition that kind of requires it, that's probably the best reason to be on a diet, right? And the fact that it's going to make you build muscle, get skinny, lose fat and work out, that's a plus. It's like a bonus of sticking with the diet as it all around just makes your quality of life improve in a half a dozen different ways. So that's good, man. I'm glad you're doing that. That's awesome. That, is sort of a thing where you kind of got to do it, but it's worth doing it though, for sure. You'll be happy that you did. I met people who had underlying health conditions, thyroid issues, or specifically gallbladder issues that they needed to do a new diet and they never did it, and it ended up being the worst decision they ever made. If there's one thing they could go back and do, it would be follow that diet that the doctors told them to follow. So it is definitely worth doing, man. All right, so the Texarkana Moonlight Murders. An unidentified assailant, often known as the Texarkana Phantom Killer, committed a number of murders and assaults in Texarkana, which is Miller County, Arkansas, and Bowie County, Texas. So it's obviously Texarkana, it's like right on the border, yeah. Through the spring of 1946, 5 people were killed and 3 were wounded. While there was one major suspect, he was never convicted of these crimes. So, what were those crimes? On February 22nd, 1946, 2 young people, Jimmy Hollis and Mary Jean Larry, were parked on a secluded Bowie County road outside Texarkana. They were forced out of the car by an armed man, his face hidden by a burlap sack with 2 slits for eyes. So this guy wasn't very creative, that's for sure. The assailant beat Hollis with the gun, cracking the young man's skull in 2 places. Oh, what a dick. He then essayed Larry before fleeing when he saw headlights of a car approaching. Both of these victims eventually recovered from their wounds. Oh, well, that's good. But still, what an asshole. 1 month later, on March 24th, 2 more young people, Richard Griffin and Polly Ann Moore, these Southern gals with their three names, Polly Ann, Mary Jean, were found on another Bowie County back road, both shot in the back of the head with a .32 revolver. Bloodstains on the ground indicated that they had been killed outside the car and then put back in it. The following month, on April 14th, teenagers Paul Martin and Betty Jo Booker, it just never fails. Betty Jo, Polly Ann, were found dead in Spring Lake Park on the Texas side, with their bodies found some distance away from their car. Again, .32 was a murder weapon. The young women in both grisly killings had been tortured and had shitty, poopy things done to them. What a bummer. Police began patrolling secluded roads and lovers' lanes. The next month, on May 3rd, an isolated farmhouse in Miller County was the scene of another murder. Virgil Starks was shot twice and killed by an attacker standing outside the front window. When the dead man's wife, Katie Starks, heard the shots and ran to the phone, she was shot twice in the face. Nevertheless, she was able to escape. Geez, wow, what a tough girl, Katie, damn, and run to a nearby farmhouse for help. Though a .22 pistol had been used in Stark's death, tire tracks similar to those in earlier cases were found at the scene. That's why she survived, because it was a .22, but still, what a badass, right? So all in all, 2 women and 3 men were killed. So that's no bueno. And these were dubbed the Moonlight Murders by the news media, and he was called the Phantom Killer. Numerous individuals claimed to be the Phantom Killer, while other citizens came forward with accusations against various local residents, including an agent of the Internal Revenue Service. It was probably that fucking guy. One young man, a student at the University of Arkansas in Fayetteville, who came from a prominent Texarkana family, killed himself in his room in Fayetteville, leaving a poem and confession. All turned out to be false leads. So they're talking about our good friend Duty over here. Turns out he probably wasn't the Texarkana killer. The one suspect who was most often cited as a probable killer was a repeat offender named Yal Sweeney, who had a record of car theft, counterfeiting, burglary, and assault. An Arkansas law enforcement official, Max Tackett, had noticed that before each murder, there were reports of a car being stolen and then abandoned. In July 1946, a stakeout of a reported stolen car on the Arkansas side led police to a woman who claimed to be Sweeney's girlfriend. She provided details on the murders that had not been released to the public. Well, there you go. Subsequently, her story changed, and she married Sweeney. That's crazy. That's like y'all, all these girls that like write letters to Charles Manson and shit. Like, what's going through some of these gals' heads? You need a father figure in your life, sweetheart. That's what you need. I don't know what the hell you're doing. Because of the unreliability of her testimony and the fact that she could not be forced to appear as a witness against her husband, law enforcement officials, okay, well, that's what it is. Yeah, she gave details. Then Sweeney was like, well, fuck, now you gotta marry me, bitch, because then you can't testify against me. Interesting. Well, there you have it. Law enforcement declined to prosecute. In 1947, Yal Sweeney was jailed for life as a repeat offender for car theft. Wow, that's a lot of cars you have to steal to go to prison for life, but was released on appeal in 1973. Well, some sources say he later died in prison. Others say he died in 1994 at a nursing home in Dallas. Okay, look at that. Uh, oh yeah, sure, that'll do it. Yeah, decreasing sugars. Sugar is what, makes you fat. Yeah, air fryer's a good idea though, for sure. My cutie pie and my little brother swear by it. Ah, that's a good idea. Yeah, man. I eat vegetables when I cook. Like tonight, I'm gonna go up and cook a goulash, and that's gonna have tomatoes. Well, tomatoes are fruit, I guess, but tomatoes and onions, garlic and stuff like that in it. But I don't ever, I guess I can eat celery. Sometimes I'll eat celery with peanut butter or like the little carrots. I'll munch on little carrots, but that's about it. My cutie pie, she eats the fuck out of vegetables. But yeah, me too, dude. I'm not a vegetable guy. You know what I'm saying? I like fruit. I'm a fruit dude. I can eat a lot of fruit. I eat blackberries and apples every day. I got stacks of apples and blackberries and bananas in the kitchen, and I eat those every single day. So yeah, that is fucking crazy, right? There you go. That's a great idea. Yeah, yeah. Throwing a salad in with your meal. That's your best bet, man. Just throwing in a quick salad. It's got a bunch of veggies in one place. That's a really good way to do it. It is, for sure. Definitely. And salads are very filling when you're trying to lose weight. I eat a fuck ton of salads when I'm cutting because it's a really good way to eat a shit ton of food that has a really small amount of calories. So you can kind of feel full, but not have a crap ton of calories that come along with it. You know what I mean? So it's a good way to kind of make you feel like you've eaten without having the added fat that comes with eating, bigger, thicker meals like pasta and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Oh, that's nice. Yeah, well, if you're gaining muscle too, you definitely you don't want to just eat nothing but salads. But throwing a salad in with your meal is a really good idea for sure. That's a great way to get good solid vegetables in. But yeah, fruit though, I'm a huge fruit fan. I do eat a lot of fucking fruit. I do eat a lot of fruit. Um, but I could always eat more vegetables. I still, I need to eat more vegetables. My cutie pie, she loves broccoli, Brussels sprouts, all that stuff and spinach. She eats the fuck out of spinach, which is good for you. I need to eat more spinach. I just got my blood test back a couple days ago, and I definitely need to eat way more spinach. My cholesterol is very high, so but I know I understand the struggle. It's like vegetables just isn't my thing. I don't really like hate vegetables. It's just not something that I eat, for whatever reason. But yeah, I mean, you're on a good track though. That is a great way to make yourself healthier, man, and help with the losing weight, losing fat, and gaining muscle. Vegetables are going to help out a lot. Get a lot of your micronutrients. So good for you though. That's a good way to do it, man. It's a good plan of attack. Did you already start on your diet, or are you starting your diet? Oh, here, I'll just type that into the chat. Oh, nice. Oh, okay. You heard me. Nice. Disregard that comment then. Oh, nice. Getting married. That's exciting here in 2 or 3 years. Okay, nice. So you got a good girl and everything? Oh, you're starting next month. Oh, okay, okay. Nice, nice. Yeah, just gearing up for it. That's a great idea. Good. You got like a workout program and everything, like a gym you go to, all that good stuff. Getting it kind of like all set up beforehand, sort of deal. I know how that goes. I mean, I'd have to do that bouncing back and forth between cutting and bulking. I always set it up like 2 or 3 weeks in advance and then hop into it. But I'm always either bulking or cutting back down again. So I definitely know how that goes, man. But still, I'm happy for you, man. That'll be awesome. That's going to make you feel a whole lot better. It really is. Okay, so I did want to point out because I'm a horror movie fan. I fucking love horror movies. In 1977, Arkansan, 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 Arkansas. This person from Arkansas, Charles B. Pierce, produced an R-rated horror film called The Town That Dreaded Sundown. And for any of you that haven't seen it, it's your like typical slasher from the 70s. With the tagline, in 1946, this man killed 5 people. Today, he still lurks the street of Texarkana, Arkansas. It starred Academy Award-winning actor Ben Johnson, Don Wells of Gilligan's Island, and Andrew Prine. Though it purported to be based on the true story of the Texarkana Moonlight Murders, many people dispute its accuracy. Well, it's still a movie. It remains a minor cult classic. Yeah, for sure. So it's a pretty good one. If you like slashers, then you definitely need to check it out because it is considered like one of the old school good slashers for certain. But so anyway, though, that's the story of the Moonlight Murders that happened in Texarkana. Sounds like this dude, Yal Sweeney, was the real fella, not our poor Mr. Duty. He didn't do nothing except having a really shitty name. But yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. It isn't, generally, I know this is just generally, it doesn't always work this way, but whenever you got somebody who's willing to kill people, sexually assault people, shit like that, they're willing to do all this other stuff. And a lot of times they have a history of doing a whole lot of other stuff, right? It's very rare that you get serial killers and mass murderers and shit like that with squeaky clean records. It has happened, and there is serial killers that do have squeaky clean records before they got caught and people realized they were doing insanely bad shit. That absolutely has happened. But a lot of the more famous serial killers, if you look into them, they have very long histories of assaults, battery, sexual assaults, burglaries, various different forms of theft, all kinds of stuff. You know, it's kind of like, it's not that doing those little things prepares you to do the big things. It's that once you're willing to do the big things, everything else is like whatever. So why not do it? You know what I'm saying? But that's the Texarkana murders, the Moonlight murders, the Yacht Club, where Mr. Duty hung himself, is still open to this day. Got 5-star reviews too, so you can go eat there. Oh, here it is, 617 North College Avenue. Okay, so we'll put that on our little map too. North College. Turns out that's a very popular street. I should have figured that. Fayetteville, Arkansas. Here we go. Okay, we'll put a little bam spooky site thing right there. So apparently though, that's actually a food court that has a whole shit ton of food in it. And apparently it's really good food too. If you look, oh, popped out somewhere in this area. I think it's right over here, right? Yeah, in this area. They got a whole bunch of food courts there that are really, really good. Unfortunately, it's not called the Yacht Club anymore. It's called something else. I found on Reddit that they sold it about a year ago. So that's kind of a bummer. But if you want to go there and possibly see Mr. Duty walking around in the spot where he hung himself, there you go. You can go check it out. Hmm. Yeah, for sure. Nasty nose noises. But yeah, man. So you're the I always tell young guys this, you know. Obviously, I mean, I'm just parroting what you already said, like you already know this. So I'm not telling this to you. This is more for just younger guys, maybe if somebody watches a video. A lot of people, you know, a lot of young guys want to go out, work out, get fit to attract young girls. And there's a whole bunch of people online who have like this whole thing where they're like trying to convince guys that that's not a thing, that for some reason girls don't like muscular dudes. And I have no idea what that bullshit's about. Both me and my little brother, you know, went out, built a lot of muscle, and very arguably had much better luck with the ladies afterwards, you know? And so, and it wasn't like building a shit ton of muscle. Like, I'm not, you know, I don't look like fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger over here neither. Just looking good and having a fit body really does help. And most people do like that. Like you said, it does. But the best reason, you know, even still, the best reason to go work out is because it is going to improve how you feel about yourself. And that's ultimately what's going to make you way attractive. You know, that makes you attractive. When you feel good about how you look and you're excited about your own body and you feel like, damn, I look good, I'm sexy beast, man, then the girls like that, in my opinion. That's what girls dig. You know, not all girls, but a lot of girls dig that. Okay, and that's really the thing you're trying to find, you know, is you want to have that. I mean, for you, there's also the thyroid thing, which is way more important. But yeah, 100% it helps with your confidence, and the confidence is what builds up that what girls like to see. A lot of girls. So when I hear guys tell younger guys, oh, don't go work out, girls don't like muscle anyways, I tell them, don't listen to that stupid fucking prick. Go work out, because even if it isn't about muscle, it's going to build your confidence to have muscle. Okay. So go work out, feel good about yourself. that will help with women. Okay, even if the muscle thing doesn't, but I still think that's bullshit. There's plenty of women who do like guys with muscle. I know, I've met them. My cutie pie likes guys with muscle. So that's a great way to go about it, though. Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. No, and testosterone too, man. Uh, being on, I think you've seen the TRT stream that I did. I know I did a stream on testosterone replacement therapy for mental health. I did a whole 2 or 3 hour stream on it, and I'm pretty sure you were there. And yeah, man, testosterone has really important effects for both men and women's mental health. It does. It's a hormone your body needs. Women need a whole lot less, but men still, they still need it. But men especially, it's very important. They need to have good quality testosterone levels. And yeah, eating healthy and working out is kind of like the baseline best thing place to start. You can go out and do all the other extra stuff, the ashwagandha, the this supplement and that supplement, go sun your balls like the Liver King or whatever you want to do. But yeah, your testosterone is going to get better. You're going to see the most improvement in your testosterone by eating healthy and working out every day. That's going to give you the best results as far as increasing in testosterone, plus body image and confidence, for sure. So those are all really good reasons to do it, man. Absolutely. Those are the best reasons to go out there and get into a workout program and get into a diet, for sure. So it's a good health. That's important too. Your reasons for why you do things is just as important as how you do things, having a plan, having a time limit when you do things, and how you do all of that good stuff. You know what I'm saying? So the why you chose to do something is just as important. That's the reason you're going to stick around for it. If your why is a silly ass reason, you're not going to keep sticking with it, but if the why is very important to you and is multifaceted, like you have multiple reasons why you're doing something as you do, in my experience, it's much harder for you to fall off. You know what I'm saying? So, and okay, so here, that was the Yacht Club Killer, which was kind of an interesting story. I kind of like that. You can go to the Yacht Club in Fayetteville, Arkansas, and maybe find yourself a young hanging high schooler, because that sounds like fun, yeah. And next, we got the natural steps. Okay, so the natural steps. I don't entirely know what the natural steps are, but they're haunted. Says so this lady in a video, so I have on good authority. Let's go ahead and check out what this girl has to say. If we get audio. Here we go.
Morning, TikTok. It is Friday, April the 12th, or the 11th. Tomorrow's the 12th. I should know that. Sorry about that. It's been a long week. It is beautiful so far today outside. I took my child to school and it was nice. But anyway, I want to thank y'all. I've got 1,000.
It was nice.
Views on my videos this week, which is a big deal for me because my kids make fun of me for doing TikTok, but I love making TikToks. I love being creative. I'm a marketer, so that's what I love to do. So today we're going to take something a little, my hair's a little flat, sorry. Today
Girl,
we're going to do something
tell us
a
about the
bit
steps. Fuck.
different than my more whatever post I was doing this week. So we're going to talk about Arkansas history. That's always fun. Today we're going to talk about the more ghost urban legends of Arkansas history. My hair is just funky-fied today.
Girl, tell the damn story. Fuck your hair.
This right here, everyone is familiar with the Crescent Hotel. Not that. I have a whole other story for that. I actually stayed there ish one time, and I'm going to hit on that in another day. Today we're going to talk about Pulaski County, which is in central Arkansas, and we're going to talk about something called the Natural Steps. The Natural Steps, here's a picture.
Only took her a minute and a half to get into it. So all y'all on YouTube that bitch about my intros being too long, all right, at least I ain't spend a whole minute and a half fucking with my hair and my tits until I finally tell you about it. So
is what it says. It's steps that were formed naturally through earth and the ground and everything in that time period, but it also has some kind of a sordid past. It was known for where Confederate soldiers went and they had looted some gold and they went to bury it, and when they did, they all died. I guess they drowned. I don't know where. It's on the Arkansas River, if I didn't say that already. They all perished and the gold was never found. Or was it? We don't know. Uh, it's also was known as a meeting place for the Klan when they were down around that area, hot and heavy. Arkansas is known for that, unfortunately. And also in 1880, a lovely lady named Martha married her handsome man, Gustavus Sanders. So Mary Sanders and Gustavus were married. They had a beautiful little ceremony on those natural stairs. And unfortunately, not long after their nuptials, Gustavus died. And Mary became so overcome with grief and despair and depression and sadness that she could not handle life without Gustavus. And in doing so, she was said to have taken those stairs one last time and never returned. She was never seen again. So the assumption is that she took the stairs and threw herself in the Arkansas River. Her body was never found. They say now that sometimes when it's dark and leery about, or maybe not dark and leery, I don't know, I made that up to make it sound good, you can see Martha, the bride in white. I guess she's in white because she's mourning and remembering her wedding, at the stairs. And I know the stairs are like, they go up, but I don't know if they go up to the river or if they go down to the river. I did not clarify that part. But it's an interesting story. And like I said, it's part of Arkansas story. If you're ever in Pulaski County or on the Arkansas River, I guess you could try to find those stairs.
Starlit Frost, what's going on, man? Here, let me hit you up in the chat.
There. But the next story I do will be about the Crescent Hotel. I may do that tonight or I may do it tomorrow. I'm not sure. But I am excited about that because I do have a first-hand account of the Crescent Hotel. I hope you've enjoyed the story. If you want more Arkansas history stories, be sure to like this video, follow me, and comment that maybe you can tell me about somewhere in Arkansas that has a rich history of being haunted or scary or sordid. And then when I hit the places in Arkansas, I may switch to another state. Who knows? Have a great day, y'all. Love you.
Well, there you go. Give me a second. All right. I just hit you up in the chat. Starlit Frost. Like your name. That's a good name. I haven't heard that before. Starlit Frost. And the gym teaches you to be committed and responsible. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, man. Not only does it teach you to be, at the gym you learn commitment, responsibility. Absolutely. You're correct about that. But you also learn how to not give up, how to deal with difficult situations, you know what I mean? Sitting underneath a bench press that's way too heavy and failing on it helps you get over a concept of failure, right? And it also helps with endorphins. There's a lot of chemical things that are happening when you go work out. So the gym is just an all-around awesome place. You definitely get way more out of it than just building muscle. Absolutely. And yeah, when you're as young as you are, you'll bounce back from your unhealthy lifestyle. You'll definitely be fine, This is the best time to do it. All right. That's awesome. I can absolutely do that, Starlit. I appreciate that. Starlit 1. Okay, awesome, dude. I appreciate that too. Yeah, man. Let me hit you up after the stream then. I hit you up on IG and more. I'll probably hit you up on Discord though, is what I'll do, is hit you up on the Discord. But yeah, I'll keep your IG too though. I'll follow you on IG. Oh, look at that. I can pin messages. I just realized that was a thing. Okay, so I got your messages pinned. Let me pin that for... Okay. Okay, I can unpin them after the stream. Nice, sweet. Okay, great. Yeah, man, I got your messages pinned then, so I can hit you up when I get done with the stream. But I appreciate you stopping by and posting that shit, man. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, there you go, man. Razor, I like that. Yeah, man, no. Then you want to look good for it too, you know. The girls like that. Absolutely. Thanks, man. Yeah, I appreciate that. Well, no, I appreciate you stopping by too. Thanks for stopping by and checking the stream out and leaving your Instagram, man. I'll absolutely hit you up after the stream, and you'll know it's me because it's just Cool Beans hot stuff. You know, it's the same everywhere. So you'll see me on Insta and you'll see me on Discord. I'll hit you up in both spots so you have all of it. So appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. But okay, so yeah, this was this lady's breakdown of the natural steps, and I'm gonna be honest, she didn't make it sound that spooky. So we're gonna learn a little bit about the natural steps. Let's pop over to see where they actually are. The natural steps. Thought I blew an O-ring there. Ooh. Natural steps. Awesome. Okay, let's save that. Arkansas spooky sites. And that's in, oh, Little Rock. Okay, I go right by Little Rock whenever I drive through Arkansas. Definitely have to check that out then. Okay, a little bit about the Natural Steps. The Natural Steps is an unincorporated community located on Highway 300 between Lake Maumelle and the Arkansas River. It takes its name from a unique sandstone formation in the shape of parallel stair steps. A 1932 archaeological investigation into the Natural Steps area conducted by staff at the University of Arkansas uncovered 57 burials, as well as pottery from both the Quapaw and Caddo tribes. An exact sequence of Native American habitation of the area, however, remains unknown. A Spanish land grant conveyed land at Natural Steps to Eli Stidwell. Another early settler was John Stanley, who was in the area from 1778 to 1780. In the 1810s, the merchant John Taylor purchased 40 acres in the area for his son Creed, who settled in the area with his sister's husband and children in 1819, though a competing land claim later forced them from their home. Well, that's a bummer. Creed Taylor's brother Sam established a sawmill with their brother-in-law, which proved profitable as Little Rock was growing at the time, with the advent of steamboats, yada yada yada. No actual town at Natural Steps before the Civil War. According to legend, bushwhackers and later the Ku Klux Klan, those fucking guys, used Natural Steps as a rendezvous point. So we had a different kind of ghost face there. Bart Moreland and his family moved to the area in 1866. He later opened up a general store. I mean, is this... okay. Establish a community. Do. And this is just about the the general history of it, which is still pretty cool. Like, seems like there's a lot of history on the Natural Steps. But as far as spooky stuff goes, that's just the 57 burials. That's what happens. That's the scary story. If it is, that's kind of a bummer. We actually went over that. Search and rescue officers ones. This Arkansas legend, the legend of the Natural Steps in Arkansas, may send chills down your spine. Okay, unique geological formation, the Natural Steps, 200 northwest of 20 miles, 20 miles northwest of Little Rock along the Arkansas River. That's it. That's the fucking Natural Steps. That's what the big to do is about. That thing right there. I'm a little bit. I mean, they oversold the shit out of that, didn't they? Damn. Okay, so for instance, they are rich with Native American history. Okay, in 1932, the University of Arkansas performed an archaeological survey, discovered 57 burial mounds, which contained pottery from the Quapaw Quapaw, and Caddo tribes. However, it remains unclear exactly how many Native American tribes inhabited the area. Okay. Natural steps were popular. Oh, there's those guys right there. For popular detour for those visiting nearby Pinnacle Mountain. All right. They've long been linked to strange stories and spooky occurrences. Pretty sure the Ku Klux Klan fits in there. According to the legend, covert bushwhackers and later on KKK Klansmen met at the steps to plot their evil doings. What's more, buildings and structures in the area had a tendency of disappearing. For instance, in 1821, a group of residents discovered an old fort and several artifacts. Eventually, though, the fort could no longer be located. A woman in white is perhaps the most notorious ghost associated with the natural steps. Ah, see, this is our second woman in white. We'll mention that again later on in the stream. All right. And Martha Sanders took her life by jumping from the natural steps. As the story goes, Martha and her beau, Gustavus Sanders, we heard about Gustavus, were married at the top of the natural steps in 1880. Sadly, their bliss was short-lived as Gustavus fell ill and passed away just days later. That's the second time this sort of thing has happened down there in Arkansas. Y'all just got some bad luck with your marriages. Don't get married in Arkansas, Razor, all right? Unable to cope, Martha returned to the site of her nuptials and leaped to her death. Ever since, numerous people have reported seeing a phantom bride or the woman in white. Other legends tells tales of phantom soldiers searching the steps for sunken treasure. The story goes that a group of Confederate soldiers died while transporting a huge sum of gold via a gunboat. In danger of being seized by Union forces, the Confederate soldiers came up with a plan: sink the boat near the natural steps and come back later to retrieve the gold. Unfortunately, the soldiers died while attempting to sink the boat. According to legend, on moonlit nights, the men rise from their watery grave, form a single line, and march the short distance between the riverbank and the steps. In the late 19th century, a gold coin was discovered on the natural steps, only adding to the legend's credibility. By the 1940s, residents began dynamiting the formation. Damn, looking for lost gold. Oh shit. No treasure was ever found, and in the process, a portion of the natural steps was permanently destroyed. What the fuck? Like, you dickheads. Wow. Go dynamiting a natural fucking, that's why it looks so shitty. That's why it's so... Motherfuckers blew it up to find gold. Gosh. I don't know, Arkansas. That's an L for you guys, I have to say. Ah, interesting. Ah, okay. Ah, okay. Nice. Yeah, I appreciate that. Here, let me pin your comment too. So I got your IG as well. Pin. Okay. Nice. Okay, so I got your IG too. Yeah, I'll check that out, man. I'm stoked to see that. Very, very interesting. Oh, that's an interesting process. So what's the Umrah? Is that how you pronounce that? Umrah? Very intriguing stuff, man. That's interesting to learn about different cultures like that. Fucking crazy. That's cool that you guys got something like that, though, man. It's a whole system for doing things. I dig it. So, shoot, what was I? Oh, Maple Hill Cemetery. Okay, yeah, Maple Hill Cemetery. This one was a quick, had to throw it in there, right? Okay, so Maple Hill Cemetery and Helena Confederate Cemetery, right? And this is just their little what is this, like, guide page, arkansas.com, right? Gives you all the local, what's the word I'm looking for here? Now, the sites to see. I'm forgetting the word, obviously. Otherwise, I would have just said it. But yeah, it's kicking my ass right now. Whatever word I'm trying to think of. Maple Hill Cemetery. Oh yeah, there's a lot of Maple Hill Cemetery shit. What was the 1801 Holly Street in Helena, Arkansas? Holly Street in there we go. Helena, Arkansas. Okay. So let's save this. Arkansas spooky sites. And how far is that? Oh, that's not far at all. That's right near Memphis. Where's the little state cutoff line? So hard to see that shit. There it is, right? No? Oh, wait, that's because it goes along the river. That's right. Okay, so it's right next to the edge of Arkansas and Mississippi. Okay, really cool. That's neat. I know I've driven right by there, actually, as a matter of fact. So, okay, that's really cool to know. I know exactly where that is then, Helena. So, yeah, historic cemetery on Crowley's Ridge at the northern edge of town, burial place of casualties of the Battle of Helena and several Confederate generals, including Helena resident General Patrick Cleburne, known as the Stonewall Jackson of the West. Helena is known for being the home of 7 generals. Wow. Okay, so I just wanted to add this one in here because I had kind of a cool story. Hidden within Maple Hill Cemetery is a grave of a doctor and his dog. Legend has it that the man was murdered and his canine friend witnessed the brutal act. Once buried, the dog refused to leave his owner's grave. The dog died from longing for his master. Some say if you listen very closely, you can hear the dog panting. Aw, that's sad. We got ghost dogs in this bitch. See, that's a bummer. Poor ghost dog. So, I threw that one in there just cause. Ghost dogs, tug on my heartstrings. I'm a dog lover. Okay, let me pop this over. Oh, not that. Okay, this is what we want. Okay, so I'm going to pop myself over here so we can watch this video. This is about the Gurdon Lights. So I don't remember what the Gurdon Lights were. I'm assuming they were some sort of glowing lights, probably something similar to the Phoenix Lights, but let's let this YouTube channel tell us all about it. Hold on, before we do that. Arkansas PBS. Okay, so let them tell you all about the Gurdon Lights. Now I'm going to hit you up in the chat, Razor.
Legends and lore hold a special place for many small Arkansas communities. Towns like Newport have spent decades celebrating things like the White River Monster. And other towns, places like
we know all
Pine
about
Bluff, had to take extreme actions to put the Sawdust Bridge and its ghosts behind them. But sometimes a story can grow bigger even than the town itself. This is never more true than with Gurdon, Arkansas.
I saw that back in 1997. The light be on one side, then turn around and light on the other side. It's like a glowing white light, like a lantern.
My mother often said that it was swamp gas.
Oh, smelly octopus is back. Yeah, I need to save your message, bro. Let me save that. Thank you for hitting me up.
I haven't ever seen it, but they said it's kind of like an orange yellow ball of fire that floats across the tracks at night. That's why it's the Gurdon Light, because he goes around at night trying to find his head.
Well, anything's possible. I believe it's, real.
There's something weird about it. There really is. That's why it's still such a phenomenon today.
I believe in a lot of things. Sometimes you see stuff that happens and you really have no explanation for it.
We're out here in the Ouachita Mountains, just northwest of Gurdon. We're in search of the Gurdon Light. Everybody you talk to seems to have a story of a family member or their friends or their own personal experiences where they've seen this light. You know, as far as I know, I have no reason to disbelieve this. In fact, I'm really hopeful that the Gurdon Light is something that I should believe in. As far as what causes it, where it comes from, whether it's the spirit of a man named Mr. McLean who was murdered by one of his workers, or whether it has a more scientific explanation, that's not as important as like the experience, I suppose, of actually seeing the Gurdon Light. We might start calling for Mr. McLean, which was the recommendation from the ladies at the barbecue restaurant. Hey, Willie!
The barbecue
there was a railroad
restaurant.
foreman killed, and he was killed out on the tracks, which is true. And they said that light was the light his lantern.
This bro needs to trim his nose hairs. He needs to get one of them cute little tiny nose beep beep nose hairs trimmers. I do that shit at least once a week, bro. You're growing a whole garden in that motherfucker, son.
For his head.
In 1930, these two conspirators, when they got through their work, they left. They run through the switch and derailed and made a mess. Foreman suspected that they were involved in the sabotage, so one of them followed him down the track.
It's an actual crime that occurred December 4th in 1931. Railroad foreman Will McLean was killed by an underling. McBride was that man's last name. McBride beat Mr. McLean over the head with a spike maul till he was dead, and when they found McLean, he was still clutching his lantern. And the light started showing up shortly after that on the railroad tracks.
They say always print the legend instead of the truth, you know. Supposedly that's what the light is the foreman looking for his head out there with his lantern.
I think that every human being at some point in their life, you know, kind of questions, are there things I can't understand that I can explain? But we all, at some point, you know, go looking for something like that. I like the ghost story aspect of this, you know, because everybody that we talk to seem to think that it's a spirit, but there are also some other theories that we have, because here in Arkansas we have some of the largest quartz deposits in the entire world, and there's an interesting principle.
I think I've actually heard of the Gurdon Light before, not in the context of a ghost story, but I think I did a stream, 7 unexplained natural phenomenon. I forget how many, but ball lightning was on there. And if you don't know what ball lightning is, go check out that YouTube video, Unexplained Natural Phenomenon. And I'm pretty sure somebody said something about the Gurdon Light being ball lightning.
Called piezoelectricity. So when anything that with a crystalline structure, when it's placed under pressure and it flexes, that crystal lattice will actually generate a high voltage electricity. We actually have a major fault line that runs through Arkansas known as the New Madrid Fault. And right here we are in Clark County, right on the edge of the fault line. This red dot here is a swarm of earthquakes that have been registered by the United States Geological Survey. So as the plates rub against each other,
take a step back there.
County, right on the edge of
the red dots are earthquakes. So I'm like right in this area. What does the yellow bar mean? How bad am I fucked?
This red dot here is a swarm of earthquakes that have been registered by the United States Geological Survey. So as the plates rub against each other, these quartz crystals start generating huge amounts of electricity. And I believe that this electricity could actually ionize the air above the fault line, generating these lights.
Look at this scientific ass motherfucker over here. Damn, son.
I think any time that you've got an air of mystery about you right here, that this happened, or then this is part of it, you can't explain it, you know, and everything. There's not a lot in Gurdon. So, you know, whatever you can do, you do.
I started talking to Mark Carnes with the Ross Foundation about 2 years ago about the possibility of a Gurdon Light Trail. And we're going to have a groundbreaking today for the parking area of the actual Garden Light Trail. We're going to create signage, and the Gurdon schools, the FFA and the Gurdon East Lab, we're going to all get together and create signs and maybe make little mile markers along the way and benches at the most popular viewing areas, as well as the actual historic account of the Gurdon Light at the trailhead parking area. I think it's something that people enjoy and always remember. I think that it's rural adds to the allure, maybe the mystique, and even the romance of the Gurdon Light.
Hey, Willie!
We spent the better part of the night out here on the train tracks, hiking through waist deep.
He's a big boy too. That takes a lot of energy to walk through the night yelling like that.
Weeds and calling the name of William McLean like the locals urged us to do.
Oh, that's what he was screaming.
Unfortunately, we haven't seen any sign of the Gurdon Light. We grow up with all these stories, all these myths and legends, and a lot of these stories get told by so many people and communities that they become really ingrained in the culture of that community, and people will actually attach, maybe some of their identity to some of those stories because it's a common thing that everybody in that town can share, kind of like a rite of passage for the people that live around here. And that sort of thing is really important to keep people together, especially when you're in a town like Gurdon, similar to the town I grew up in. You're kind of disconnected from the rest of the world. Everybody knows it, whether or not they grow up and stop believing in that story because they never have an encounter with it, or whether or not they believe it for their whole life. It's still something you can kind of talk to your kids about to scare them at night. Those stories are just part of the human experience, I think, like a continuation of that story that we're all trying to tell about each other.
Much like Dexter Harding's Sawdust Bridge, the murder of Will McLean could have been a dark spot on the history of Gurdon, Arkansas. But the crime and the ghost story that's arisen from it has been taken in and celebrated by the community. The Gurdon Light is a prime example of the power of native myth and storytelling in the natural state.
So there you go. The Gurdon Lights. And that was Arkansas PBS. Give them a like because they don't copyright strike my channel when I play their videos. PBS doesn't from any state. So goodness for that. So our boy here, our big boy there, he didn't find no Gurdon Lights when he went walking along the railroad. But I did find a Reddit thread where some people have claimed to seen some spooky stuff with the Gurdon Lights. So let's read through this, see what some people have to say about the Gurdon Lights. By the way, shitballs, where was the Gurdon Lights supposed to be? Son of a bitch. They said it in that video, didn't they? Let's go back. Oh, nope. Okay, keep your ears peeled. Wherever the hell this is supposed to be.
Towns like Newport have spent decades celebrating things like the White River Monster.
We went over the White
And
River
other towns,
Monster.
Places like Pine Bluff had to take extreme actions to put the Sawdust Bridge and its ghosts behind them. But sometimes a story can grow bigger even than the town itself.
I saw that back in 1997. The light be on one side, then turn around, the light's on the other side. It's like a glowing white light, like a lantern.
My mother often said that it was swamp gas, what it would have to be. Every
Swamp
excuse
gas,
that they could come up with, every rationale they could come up with, there were some real problems with that.
I haven't ever seen it, but they said it's kind of like an orange yellow ball of fire that floats across the tracks at night. That's why it's the Gurdon Light, because he goes around at night trying to find his head.
Well, anything's possible. I believe it's,
Gurdon.
real.
It's called the Gurdon Light because it's in Gurdon. Shit. Well. Fair enough. Gurdon, Arkansas. All right. Let's save you to spooky sites. Where exactly are you at? That's on the other side of the state away from me. That's a ways away. Close to Texarkana. Look at that. Okay. Well, that's where the Garden Light is. Good to know. Okay, sure. I did know that. Yeah, yeah. So, when you like get married, you guys have like a big ceremony, like some gosh, I've heard of like some ceremonies taking like days, not like Muslim ceremonies cuz I don't know. I've never heard of that. That's why I'm asking. Like, do ceremonies take like a day or a few hours? Do you have like special, what's the word? Traditions that you follow before it's like written in ink and done deal, That's what I was asking about. I mean, I'm sure you do, but I've just never, had anybody to ask, because I mean, I would be interested to see what that is or hear what that is, because I'm sure you guys got all kinds of traditions in the way of that sort of thing. You know what I mean? So I would be interested to hear what traditions you guys have in the way of doing that. That is pretty cool. I kind of like that shit. It's really crazy how all these different cultures have different traditions when it comes to marriage and stuff like that, Pretty crazy stuff. Let me get... Okay, well, I can't reach my Twizzlers, so we're going with more lightsabers. Okay, so, Garden Lights. So, Mr. Human Stuff says, went once with buddies, walked about 2 hours in the pitch black, finally saw it, hiked back 2 hours, and drove another 2 hours home. Very underwhelming. Probably won't do it again. Well, at least he's honest. Yeah, they did say, and I can't upvote him. I sure can't. Well, that's a bunch of bullshit. That deserved an upvote. Yeah, so, I mean, they did say it's like a lantern walking along the tracks. Like, who says it's just not a fucking lantern then? Went several times, never saw it. Went once with a bunch of people. We walked 2 miles down the track the wrong way. One guy was being a jerk, and so my friends dubbed him Dickhole Dean. Even though his name wasn't Dean. I love it. Fucking A. Hooray for you and your friends. Another person threatened to pull a knife on Dean. Oh, he must have really been a dick. It was really cold, and we didn't see the light because we went the completely wrong way, thanks to Dickhead Dean. Fucking Dickhole Dean. I deer hunt in that area. I've seen it several times. Oh, okay. I've been about half a dozen times. Every time I saw a tiny, distant, greenish pinpoint of light that honestly resembled fireflies. Nothing more astonishing than that. Man, what we saw was an orb about the size of a baseball or a softball, but it was a good 100 to 200 yards down the tracks and kept moving kind of up and down, side to side, but it was more of a yellowish color when we saw it. Watched it for a good 10-15 minutes from what I recall. I don't know what the fuck we saw, but I don't believe in hokey nonsense, so I'm sure there is a plausible explanation. Probably a firefly. Probably a really big-ass firefly. Went with a big group of friends in high school and made our normal debauchery and drinking slightly less repetitive. Had to ride back in friend's two-seater with his girlfriend on my lap. Very awkward. 3:10, just go to the lake. Is it true they took out the bridges to go see it? My friends and I have been planning to see it, but I came across a page that said the bridges were taken out a few years ago. Oh, wow. Oh, shit. So, you might not even be able to go see it. Looks like they took the bridges out. So this guy saw it. Some friends to a spot out in the woods in Gurdon, kind of like a rest stop, and we get on the tracks and start walking for like 2-3 miles. So you got to walk to see this thing, mind you. Just throwing that out there. So any of y'all down in Arkansas who want to go take a look at this, I'm not saying anything. Y'all in Arkansas really like your barbecue. Okay, that's all I'm saying. I ain't saying nothing. I'm just saying that, right? Just know you're going to have to walk your ass like 2 or 3 miles, right, before you go see this thing. So just be careful. Make sure you bring a partner with you, to call in case your ass has a heart attack. crossing 7 to 9 old railroad bridges before coming out of the tree line into this sort of clearing while still on the tracks. And my buddy says, okay, this is the spot. I'll start calling his name. And he starts yelling William McLean and banging on the tracks. Well, after about 5 minutes out of nowhere, this literal light floats out of the woods, as opposed to a non-literal light, out of the woods from right to left, and just kind of dances up and down on the track about 200 yards down the track. So we start heading towards the light, and it just keeps getting further and further away. And then it went out of nowhere, just disappeared, and I haven't a clue to this day what it was we were looking at. My first thought was it was a prank, and it was just a person with a flashlight. That's what I was thinking. Like, what are the chances there's just some fucking podunk down in Arkansas who's real fucking bored and he just hangs out there? Maybe the state pays him, right? He gets paid by the government to just sit there and wait for somebody to go banging on the tracks and yelling William. Then he grabs his flashlight and does a whole dealie and then runs, giggling back into the woods. What are the chances that's somebody's job? This is Arkansas, you know what I'm saying? So it's a thought. And didn't know what they were saying, thought it was a prank. You could see it forever down the tracks, even at night, and with the light so far off and going as high as 10 feet in the air, and being so far in the middle of nowhere, there's no way someone could have been out there waiting, because like I said, we just walked 2+ miles. Yeah, I mean, that's a point, but then again, so you do have to walk a very specific way down the tracks. Okay, well, there you go. I'm going to be honest, I'm not convinced this is worth your time to go see, but if you're really that bored, fuck it, right? Might as well give it a shot, and you can go see a random light dance up and down. I mean, you are in Arkansas, so there's not that much fun shit for you to do. Let's be honest. Ah, okay. That's a dope tradition. Nice. I like that. All right. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff I mean. Yeah. You got like very unique marriage traditions that you don't see in other religions or cultures. You know what I mean? So that definitely counts. That's a pretty cool one. That's interesting. Yeah. So your general plan of attack is to be married here in the next 2 or 3 years. Yeah. And you're going to get buffed up before that. Yeah. How big you trying to buff up? You trying to get like fucking super huge or just nice, lean, cut, look like you can handle yourself. You know what I mean? So, wait, what was this that we're going for? Hold on. I'm going to have to consult my notes. Oh, okay. So here, let's pop over. Yeah. So if you haven't noticed, a couple times on stream, I've discussed the white woman or woman in white, right? This has popped up like twice so far on stream today, just today. And there's a woman in white in every state. This is a very common urban legend that you see all over America and in South America. I don't know if they have it in Canada. I'm sure they do. Maybe they have something equivalent, right? Like the white caribou or some shit. But anyways, it's a very common legend in America, right? The white woman, the woman in white, whatever. Well, y'all in Arkansas just went to town with these ghost girls, and like I said, there's a order here, ghost guys, whatever, especially when it's just like a fucking floating light on a train track. And then ghost women, a little bit scarier, especially if they're Japanese. Them bitches are terrifying when they turn into ghosts, right? Some of the prettiest women in the world, but after they die, whew, shit scary as hell. So, but here is just a handful of the ghost gals y'all got down in Arkansas. Y'all must, I don't know what you be feeding your women down there, but they turn into some ghosts. So Ghost Holler or Hallow, a local legend tells of a young bride who died in the 1850s when her wedding dress caught on fire. Okay, so we did go over that one. Now you can see her running around screaming in the middle of Fayetteville. And let's see, the Willie Tilley Bridge, we talked about that one. Built in the 1930s. It was a dam to control flooding. Where is it? Matilda Ford, an early settler whose name may have been shortened to Tilly Willie for ease of speech. In 1970s, a devastating incident occurred when a woman drove off the bridge, resulting in the deaths of herself and her children. This tragic event is often cited as the most infamous associated with the bridge. And of course, you can see her walking around, a woman in white. Let's go to the Tilly Willie Bridge. Put that on here, because it's got a cute name too. Tilly Willie Bridge. There you go. At least they got that one. Okay. Boom, save. Arkansas spooky sites. And that's in Fayetteville too. Nice. So that one will be easy to find. I know where Fayetteville's at. So there's your another ghost girl. We have a headless man. That's kind of interesting. Lawrence Creek in Saline County, linked to the ghost of a girl murdered there. Reported sightings. Yep. Faulkner Lake almost did this one. A mother's ghost seeks her baby, luring people into the lake. Yep. Okay. And then we already did the folk monster, actually, on the cryptid video. And then the vanishing hitchhiker. A girl in a torn dress who vanishes from cars after asking for a ride home. All right. And you even have the lady in black here, just to top it all off. This urban legend is about love and heartbreak. Arkadelphia. That's another thing y'all do in Arkansas. Y'all just take random ass city and state names from all around America and just add Ark or Anzus to it. And call it like a whole nother thing. Arkadelphia, where there are two big rival universities, Henderson State and Ouachita Baptist University. My printer just kind of spooked the shit out of me. The legend goes back 100 years. A boy named Josh from Henderson was dating a girl named Jane. He was threatened by his friends because they're from the two opposite schools. So this is a whole... Oh, y'all can't see this. That's right. Here you go. You can check it out now. And where was he at? So opposite schools. So we got a whole like Shakespeare pissing match contest, pissing contest going on here. And Josh caved and broke up with Jane right before homecoming. She was so heartbroken, she put on a black dress and a black veil, then jumped off a cliff and died. So, boys, be careful when you go dating these girls. She is now spotted at least once a year around homecoming. So, y'all got black ladies, white ladies, woman in black, woman in white, all kinds of shit. I decided I'd at least do one of them, okay? Because there's so many ghost chicks out in Arkansas. Your girls, all y'all women out there, just be turning into ghosts left and right. Okay, this is Southern Gothic Podcast. Let's give them a like, because they don't have too many likes on this video. And this is the story of the Phantom Hitchhiker of Highway 365. So let's put this guy on, check this video out.
This is it, y'all. Our very last campfire story for spooky season. It has been so much fun doing these, and I hope that each and every one of you enjoyed it. Now, we're going to be back with a full-length episode tomorrow, a real ghost story. But don't worry if you're too busy trick-or-treating, you can't listen. It'll be there for you when you get home. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Today, we're going to sit here around this campfire, and we're going to talk about a stretch of road out in Arkansas that many claim is haunted by a very familiar spirit, a lady in white type ghost who seems to appear and disappear before folks' very eyes. Arkansas Highway 365 is a north-south state highway located in central Arkansas. It stretches through Jefferson, Grant, Pulaski, and Faulkner counties. However, there's a stretch of this otherwise unassuming state road between Woodson, Redfield, and Pine Bluff that many believe to be the most haunted stretch of highway in the state.
Wait, let me back it up.
Redfield, and Pine Bluff that many believe to be the most
Woodson,
haunted stretch
Redfield,
of
and
highway
Pine Bluff.
in the state.
Okay. Remember that
Back
when
in
we add it to our map.
1973, a man driving on this road near Wrightsville, just south of Little Rock, past a young woman who appeared to be in distress. Her clothes were tattered and her body covered in bruises and wounds. She claimed to have been in a car accident. So being the gentleman that he was, he gave her his jacket and offered to give her a ride home. But then, when the car arrived and he pulled into the driveway of their destination, he looked into the back seat where she'd been sitting and discovered that the young woman was no longer there. In shock, he decided to go up to the home anyway. He knocked on the door and was then greeted by an older gentleman. The driver told him what had happened, and the homeowner looked a bit unnerved by the tale, responding that only a month before, his daughter had died on that same bridge in a horrific car accident. The grieving father then told the gentleman where his child was buried, and either intrigued by the tale or still disturbed by the experience, the driver returned to his car and went to visit the gravesite. But when he got there, he found something entirely unexplainable by natural means. Draped over this young woman's headstone was his jacket. Of course, who this young girl was is entirely unknown, and although we've searched for newspapers covering this reported accident, we unfortunately haven't found anything to verify this tale. Yet this legend not only persists down there in Arkansas, it thrives. In fact, this is one of the hundreds of purported accounts dating all the way back to the 1950s of drivers picking up a young woman in distress, only to find that when they arrive at their destination, the girl has seemingly vanished into thin air. Variations of it include everything from the time since the young woman's death to the exact place where she was hitchhiking from. And some even claim that this only happens on dark and stormy nights, and that when this purported hitchhiker disappears in the back seat of that car, the only evidence left of them is a wet spot in the place where they sat.
That's nasty. Girl needs to practice hygiene.
This isn't the only legend. Some do claim a number of other eerie occurrences on Highway 365. Urban legends that are even more terrifying than the phantom hitchhiker. These drivers say that they too have come across the apparition of a girl there on this haunted highway. But instead of asking for help, she runs out in front of passing cars. Of course, terrified and distraught, these folks pull over in fear for what they have just done, before realizing that the girl they believe to have injured is absolutely nowhere to be found. Another urban legend that has been passed down over the years purports that if you dare stop in the middle of the road in the dark of night, turn off your headlights, and honk 3 times, the apparition of a motorcyclist will come roaring directly towards you and pass through your vehicle as if neither of you were ever there.
Oh, that's a new one.
These are some of
that's
the many
cool.
tales that folks out in Arkansas have passed down for generations. But whether or not they are true or merely stories does not matter, because to this very day, the Arkansas State Police continue to get calls about this vanishing hitchhiker on that lonely stretch of Highway 365. My name is Brandon Schexnayder, and you've been listening to Southern Gothic.
Schexnayder. Okay. Yeah, give that guy a like. And let me see. Let me pop back here. Oh. Near
South of Little
Wrightsville.
Rock, past a young woman who appeared to be in distress.
Highway 3. So this is pretty typical for your woman in white stories. Yeah. Highway 365. North Little Rock. There you go. Oh, I wonder if I've been on this highway. No, sure haven't. Okay. And Woodson. There it is, Redfield. So, ooh, there's a cemetery right there. So in this general area, well, let me save that. AR 365. All right, we got it. saved in the spooker section. Let's take a look at this guy. All right. We're doing pretty good right there. What? Oh, that was the Mississippi swamp that's haunted. A lot of crazy shit out there. I mean, it's a swamp in Mississippi, so you kind of figure that. But yeah, that's pretty typical story for your woman in white, right? Nothing too super crazy there. I mean, it is interesting. Like, got a neat story to it. And this is classic. What just happened? What did I do? What did you do to me? 5 News Online? Get out of here. Okay. But it's very common. This is a classic American legend, right? Every state in America has their white woman legend, right? So this is in Central Arkansas. Was that in Central? It was. Okay. Good. So according to travelers on Arkansas Highway 365, okay, sometimes encounter a young girl walking in the pouring rain in a torn white dress while crossing a spooky bridge. So there's the bridge. So you have to be crossing this bridge, huh? Okay. Yada, yada, yada. Another branch of the legend includes a man who gives the young girl his jacket when he picks her up. According to the story told on Arkansas, I almost said Arkansas.com, a young man was driving home south of Little Rock. This is the one we already heard. The man got out of the car, walked to the other side to help her out, but there was no one there. Oh, that's where his coat draped over the tombstone. I must not have heard that part when he was telling the story. Ooh, shit. Okay, so again, your basic white woman story. Everybody's got one, but Arkansas, you guys had the best one so far. And you guys had so many of the scary girl stories. I had to throw at least one ghost-ass girl in there, right? Otherwise, I would just be, what would I be doing with myself? Yeah. Oh, nice. 6 a.m. That's right. You do the night shift over there. Yeah. That's right. Yeah, I used to do the night shift as a security guard. I mean, here and there. I was a security guard. Well, really, I was a guard in a detention center. And occasionally, though, I would do the night shift. And I don't miss it. I don't miss it a little bit. The night shifts are rough, man. Night shifts are rough. But it is, I mean, I guess, I don't know. It depends on, what you're guarding. You know what I mean? Working in a detention center, sometimes the days are rougher than the nights, right? Because in the daytime, you're just running around breaking up fights all day long, So sometimes the night can be really nice because nobody is trying to stab each other at night. Everybody's sleeping. Sometimes, though, you got dudes who are trying to do other things to each other, if you catch my drift. And that's never fun to walk in on that and see that happening. So it's a trade-off. But anyways, hopefully you don't run into that at your job. Okay, so that was the woman on Highway 365, Arkansas's woman in white. So another thing y'all have in droves out here in Arkansas is spooky ass houses. Y'all got the Hornibrook house. I want to know which one of y'all named it that. Or also called the Empress of Little Rock. James H. Hornibrook. That's unfortunate. Duty in Hornibrook. Y'all got some funky ass names out there in Arkansas. Just gonna throw it down. A luxury bed and breakfast. And it's haunted, of course. And then you had Curran Hall. There's a whole bunch of actual old buildings, that are colleges. Saw the Armory, stuff like that. There's a lot of Civil War stuff, you know what I'm saying? Got a lot of that out there. So that makes sense, right? All them Confederate ghosts lost the war. They're still pretty pissed about it. You have the Crescent Hotel. And then the Basin Park Hotel, the Clayton House, got its whole thing. And then keep going. You have the courthouse, yada, yada, yada. The Rush Gates House. You have the McCollum Chidester House. Okay. And then you have the Allen House. Okay. So, and then here, you even have more. 8 more. What were these? The Desha County Courthouse, Mount Holly, Curran Hall. We already kind of went over that one. The old Arsenal Tower, Moss Mountain Farm. Okay. Halloween tours, legend behind the property has something to do with the attraction. It's said that an Englishman, naturalist, and traveler who settled on Moss Mountain in the early 19th century with his crew of men were murdered mysteriously on Halloween night in 1819. Those who take a tour of the property on Halloween are said to feel the presence of the unfortunate souls. Of course, there's more to the farm than haunted happenings. For instance, in spring, the landscape is adorned with hundreds of thousands of daffodils. Oh, that's kind of cool. Fort Smith Museum, spirits out of the Powhatan, and then again with the crazy, creepy Allen House. Okay, so let's go with the Allen House. I said, fuck it. You guys got so many haunted houses. You got more haunted houses than you have haunted girls, which is probably a good thing. You know, if you had to have a reasonable ratio between the two, you probably want more haunted houses. But anyway, so I thought this one sounded the best. So we're going to read about the Allen House. That'll be our last entry of the Arkansas Myths and Legends. So let's check it out. So the Allen House is located in Monticello, Arkansas. I really like that name, Monticello. Did it have an address? It did not. It did not. So Monticello, Arkansas. Okay. Hampton Inn. I was just seeing if maybe they have like a historical monument or something there, but I ain't seeing shit in the way of that. Here, let's do a good Google search here. Allen House, Monticello, Arkansas. $705 North Main Street in Monticello. Okay. 705 North Main Street. There we go. The Allen House. There it is. Okay. Save Arkansas spooky sites. And that is our last spooky site that we'll be putting on this list. So Arkansas, you're pretty full up on spooky shit. Okay. Great. Let's read about the Allen House. The Allen House is located in Monticello, Arkansas. Was built between 1905 and 1906 by J.E. Allen. First person seems like he's had a reasonable name. Although the current owners haven't said anything publicly about haunting the previous owners have. Mark and Rebecca Spencer bought the house in 2007, and it didn't take long before they started to see and experience things in the house. This hauntingly beautiful house was featured on numerous paranormal shows. One of those shows was The Ghost Brothers back in 2019. The Spencers talked about seeing doppelgangers of themselves and their son. Ooh, that's creepy. They also said they experienced furniture being rearranged and kitchen cabinets opening and closing. Closing, not clothing. Some paranormal experts say those doppelganger sightings may have been a spirit trying to make contact with the living. Who is haunting the house? From reports of witnesses, it is G.E. Allen's middle daughter, Liddell Allen. Her son is also reported as haunting the house. So the tragic story of Liddell Allen, another haunted girl. So this is a haunted house and a haunted girl, double whammy. Liddell was born in 1894. She married Boyd Random Bonner, Boyd, at the age of 20, and they had a child and named him Allen. The marriage only lasted a few years and ended in 1927. Liddell's son died of pneumonia. That double died of. Slipped me up. In 1941 at the age of 28. Then just a few years later, Liddell took her own life on Christmas Eve, 1948. Oh, that's a bummer. During her mother's Christmas party on Christmas night in 1948, she quietly went upstairs to the master bedroom to drink a cocktail with mercury cyanide. Ooh. She died almost a week later on July 2nd, 1949. The papers at the time never said how she died. Family and friends knew how she died, but no one knew why. Mark Spencer says that one day he had an incredible urge to go into the attic. That is when he found 82 love letters that were under a loose floorboard. The letters were of a secret love affair between Liddell and a man named Prentice H. Savage. Oh, shit. The letters showed that Liddell had rekindled an affair with her first love, who was now married. Savage kept promising to leave his wife and marry Liddell, but before Christmas, he wrote to Liddell to tell her it was over and he wasn't going to leave his wife for her. You can imagine the devastation she felt, her son's death only 3 years earlier, and now the realization that she would never marry her first love. Check out the video. That's okay. We got our own video. So there you have it. Another woman's ghost haunting the Allen house. And just to tidy it up, we're going to go with the unexplained zone. We're not going to give them a like because they always strike my YouTube channel. So fuck these guys. But we'll still watch it for the live stream. YouTube, you're not going to see this, right? This will be, I'm going to be editing this next part out. Sorry, but the unexplained zone can be some pretty big dicks. So, well, there you go. The story of the Allen house and its goofy ass kids missing body parts bullshit. I'd be the fuck out of there so fast. Couldn't pay me to be there. But that gives us our final map of Arkansas spooky sites. I need to still fill up Alabama. I know I say that every fucking time I do one of these streams, and I still haven't done it yet. But I'm probably not going to do it tonight either because I got a lot of people that I need to add on Discord and other places. So I'm going to do that instead. And then I got goulash I'm making tonight. Ooh, I'm so fucking stoked. I love my goulash. If I say so myself, my goulash is the best goulash ever in the world, ever, to ever exist. So, but yeah, that still does it. Absolutely. Here, let me hit you up. All right. I'm glad you're asking me about that, Razor. I'm always stoked to talk about working out, man. Always. And it's important to note when we're talking about the, like, whenever you're talking about programming for workouts, different things work for different people. You know what I mean? What's worked the best for me is a push-pull leg split, where Monday I do all my pushing muscles, Tuesday pulling muscles, Wednesday legs, and then I repeat that for the next another 3 days, 6 days in a row, 6 days out of the week, and that or bro splits. I'm on bro splits right now, where that's Monday shoulders, Tuesday arms, Wednesday legs, Thursday back, Friday chest. That's a good program too. Those two programs have been the best for me. I've gained the most muscle on those two programs. My little brother, he's only ever done 3 day a week full body workouts, where it's one workout per muscle group. So 5 exercises, arms, shoulders, legs, back, chest. 5 exercises a day, 3 days in a week. And he loves that. And that he exploded on that workout, by the way. That workout was amazing for him. So it's really whatever's best for you. You know what I mean? That's the workout that you want. So, oh, yeah, absolutely. No, that's very good advice. It's called progressive overload. So you want to every single week add every time you do an exercise, say you do overhead press. Okay, today was my shoulder exercise, and I did overhead press followed by 2 or 3 I told you what my exercise was, or my whole workout for the day. But so on each one of those workouts, or each one of those exercises, 3 different exercises for my shoulders. Each one of those exercises I do once a week, every Monday. And every week I either add more weight, so like roughly 5%, or I add more reps. Okay. So if I can't do an increase in weight, right? So say on my overhead press, I ended my overhead press with 170, seems to be my 1 rep maximum. Okay. 170 pound push over my head. That's my 1 rep that I can do. And I couldn't do no more because I've been working out for 8 weeks straight, and my body needs a break. It needs to heal. So this is my last week. I'm not going to make 170. I'm not going to hit 175 pounds. I'm not going to be able to. I'm not going to be able to hit 172.5 because I know how my body is. I need that extra week to chill the fuck out and relax and let my muscles do their thing, heal up, right? So instead, today, I push 160 for 3 reps, 165 for 2 reps, and then try to squeeze out 170 for 2 reps instead of the 1. So I add an extra rep on instead of adding extra weight, right? So you can either add weight every exercise to each exercise every time you do it. So weekly, like you said, try to break a new one every week or 2. Try to increase the weight. Try to increase the weight every week or 2, or increase the number of reps you do per set. So if you're doing 8 reps for 3 sets, you can also increase it to 10 reps per set, right? And mathematically, you want to switch between the 2, and I'm going to show you why. You can track how much. All you want is to increase what's called your volume on a weekly basis, okay? And volume is just a unit of measurement to describe how much work you're putting into the gym. And all that is the weight you're lifting. Say you're curling 30 pounds, okay? It is just the weight you're lifting times your reps times your sets. So let's say you're curling 30 pounds for 3 sets, 8 reps, right? 30 times 3 times 8. Your volume is 720, okay? You want that to go up next week. And you can do that by increasing the weight, say 35 pounds for 3 sets for 8 reps, and go up to 840, okay? So that's when you increase the weight by 5 pounds. You go up to 840. You were at 720, now you're at 840, right? Or you can increase your reps. So, in 30 pounds, because you're not increasing the weight, 30 pounds times 10 reps times 3 sets. Okay, that bumps you up to 900. Okay, so you increased your volume more. Or you can go up sets. So you do 30 pounds for 8 reps for 4 sets. And that gets you to 960. So, good rule of thumb, you always want to go up every week, just like you said. You got it. You nailed it. You know what the fuck you're doing. That's a very important concept. Very important for you to know. You nailed it. Totally right. If you go up in weight, you're going up in the smallest increment you can. Okay, as far as weight goes, okay, you can go up 5 pounds, 10 pounds. That's going to change it. You know, there'll be days, though, where you can't go up 10 pounds on this exercise. You're going to have to go up 5 or even 2.5 pounds because 10-pound leap is just too much in a week or even 2 weeks, right? So you can go up in weight. That's the smallest, say, the smallest, what's the word I'm looking for? Unit of volume that you can increase in. Or you can go up in reps, which is a slightly bigger leap, or you can go up in sets, which is the biggest leap in volume. Okay. So playing with those 3 things, and say 1 week you go up in weight, the next you go up in reps, and the next you go up in sets, and repeat that for 6 weeks. So that you'd go up in 2. Each one would get 2 increases over the 6-week period, is a great way to keep your body pushing it, right? Because you're increasing the amount of work you're doing every week, which that's all you want to increase is volume. See? Does this also depend on the amount and quality of food eating? No, generally you want to just get your programming and then stick with it. And it I guess, let me see, because it can, but that's up to you. That's your decision. If you're trying to, like you said, lose weight, for example, lose fat and build muscle, right? So you basically want to be in this like special little zone where you're getting enough working out, enough exercise to build the muscle, but you're not eating so much food that you're gaining fat with it, okay? You're not bulking, okay? Because I'm bulking. And that means that I'm gaining fat as I'm gaining muscle. And I go up until I can't gain any more fat without it being extremely unhealthy. And then I cut my fat down and just focus on cutting down fat and leave the muscle that I just built, right? So I'm doing one and then the other. You want to do both at the same time, and which is especially fine when you're young and this is your first time doing like a big program like this. You know what I mean? Yeah. Well, no, I mean, technically nobody really requires fat loss first, unless you're at like 35 or 40% body fat, which you said you're not fat. So you don't need to worry about this. And you don't need to do it the way that I'm doing it. I do it the way that I do it because it works for me, not because it's the right way to do it. You see what I'm saying? You do what works for you, not what works for other people. You got to experiment with your own body and figure out what works best for you, man. And plenty of people. I have a friend who does what you do and it works great for him. But you know, if somebody is at like 40% body fat or something like that, then they should definitely lose fat first. But like you said, that's not you, so you don't need to worry about that. So yeah, you can do exactly what you're doing. What you're doing isn't the wrong way to do it at all. But what you want to do is be in that nice middle ground where you're doing enough programming, working out to build muscle, but not eating so much food that you're gaining weight as you build the muscle. You see what I'm saying? You're not building fat. So what you would just do is you would do your diet, choose a diet, choose your programming, see what the result is, and then adjust accordingly. See what I'm saying? You would want to adjust if you do your diet and your programming and you find that you're gaining strength, but you're also gaining fat, then you know to either cut back on the diet or increase the work that you're doing in the gym. You could do either or, and it would do the same thing, right? Ah, that's right. Okay. Well, that happens. Men tend to do that, for the record. That's men's bodies tend to build fat around the abdomen. You know what I mean? But that still doesn't, like you said, if the rest of your body is skinny, then the chances that you're like 30 or 40% body fat is pretty slim. Like you need to have like double chin, you're going to be a big boy at 30, 40% fat, So if the rest of you is skinny, then I highly doubt that you have that issue. It's just you got a little extra fat on you and that's all. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know. Yeah, if you can build all the muscle you want, but if there's a layer of fat on it, you're not going to see the muscle per se. You can tell it's there in some guys, but it's not going to be like, you're not going to actually see the tone of the muscle and the cut of the muscle and all that sort of thing, you know, obvious, for sure. So you got the right idea, and I would stick with what you're doing. Just do what you're doing and see how it works for you. And if it works for you, just stick with that. Don't do what other people say to do if you already have something that works out for you. You know what I mean? Push-pull legs is an awesome split. Try that out. See if it works out for you. See if the building muscle and losing fat at the same time works out for you. Again, I got a friend that does that and it works out great for him, right? So yeah, you just want to focus on what you're doing. And then if something doesn't work, try something else then at that point. Then at that point, maybe try bro splits or full body splits or upper lower splits, right? Or maybe try alternating your cutting and bulking the way that I do if it doesn't work out for you this time. But if it works out for you this time, then there's no reason to do anything else. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, don't fix what isn't broken, right? And being as young as you are, your body is going to respond no matter what. You know what I mean? Like, you're probably going to get a really good response out of this, and you don't have to be super scientific about it. You know what I mean? You don't have to put a whole lot of effort in. Like I was saying, like, when you're getting your 1 rep maximum, you don't have to be perfect, you know? Just somewhere in the general vicinity is good enough, because you're young, your body's going to absolutely build muscle, and you're not going to have to worry too much about it. You don't have to get super scientific with it. You know what I mean? So really, it's just have fun doing it is the most important thing, right? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, man. No, you want to, strength is important. And yeah, I mean, you want everything to look good for certain too. You want muscles. You don't want to have big ass giant chest muscles and little itty bitty baby biceps. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, everybody is slightly different. There is some people that are what we call hypo responders, where they don't respond to exercise at all, or it's just really hard. But that's very, very rare. That's a very small group of people. And on the flip side, there's some people who are hyper responders, where their bodies really react to working out, like they build a lot of muscle really quick regardless of how much they eat. That's also a very small percentage of people. Most people are right in the middle, where if you eat well and you exercise good, you're going to get a good response. It's not going to be like Arnold Schwarzenegger in a year, like you're on steroids, but you're going to get a good response. And the younger you are, the more likely that good response is going to be. So it helps anyways, it helps to be young. Being young is 21 years old. You're at the prime for building your muscle right now. And you will be for the next 9 years. You know what I mean? No, yeah. Even if somebody is like a hypo responder, that's not a reason to not work out. You don't just like throw it away and say, well, I guess there's no point. Like, no, like you're still going to get better, and you can always be better than you were yesterday. And that's the point, really. It's not to go look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. If you're going to the gym for that, it's not a good reason to be going to the gym. You know what I mean? Unless you want to be a professional bodybuilder and that's your passion, then go for it. But for most people, you're going to be better off and you're going to get better results if you just go in there to look better than you did yesterday. And if you have that mentality, then even hypo responders can get better, So yeah, that's not an excuse to not work out, But again, that happens to such a small amount of people. I forget what the percentages are because they've done studies on this, but I forget what percentage of people that is, Yeah. For sure. Okay. Yeah. Well, it is. Yeah. I mean, for some people, yeah, big bone people, they don't have to worry as much about it. But, you got the bones you have and you got to work with what you have. You know what I mean? So, that's not something you should care about. Anyways, that's not something that affects you. You know, if other people do it slightly differently because they have like thicker bones or whatever, you know, that's their thing. But like I said, you want to focus on whatever your thing is, right? You know what I mean? You got good bones, then you do it this way. If maybe your bones are not as good, then you can do it a different way, you know, but ultimately you want to have it, what's the word? Customized to your, to what's best for you and your body. You know, that's the big thing, you know, and making sure you get the results that you want, that keeps you focused and sticking with it, because that's how ultimately you end up making the most progress, is sticking with it and being consistent. That's the biggest thing, really, is being consistent, going in every day and doing your thing. And you're not going to do that if you're not having fun, you know? So that's the most important thing, is to pick programming you like and enjoy, exercises you like and enjoy, and even sets and reps like you were asking about earlier. The sets and reps, pick the ones you enjoy doing, really, because that's what's going to make you stick with it, and that's how you're going to get the most benefit, you know. So anyways, that is going to do it for our, what is today? Monday, our Monday stream. I keep thinking it's Tuesday because Tuesday, terrifying Tuesdays, I switched it over to Monday. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, for sure. Well, you get some people, I don't know, they have big bones, I guess. But, I mean, most of the people, I guess, that I know that have big bones tend to be fairly strong. Or they just don't work out. That's their thing. They might have big bones, but they don't work out. You know, and that's why they're not strong, in which case they're mostly just fat. They say they have big bones, but I don't even know if that's true. I just know they're fat. You know, I know people, my cutie pie and her brother are a quarter Samoan, and they got big bones, and they're both naturally strong, right? Like, they're both naturally strong fucking people, and that's kind of a Samoan thing. That's in like their whole bloodline is that way, you know. So, but a lot of people, especially in America, you get a lot of fat people that pretend like they have big bones as an excuse, and it's like, nah, bro, you're just fat. All right, but anyways, I'm probably gonna let you guys go, because I got to go upstairs and make some goulash. So I got to make some goulash tonight, so me and my cutie pie have food tomorrow, because I was actually supposed to make it last night, and then, well, I ended up writing. I finished my novel that I've been writing for the last 4 weeks, finished it last night, so it's kind of a celebration, but so I didn't end up making the goulash, so now I have to make the goulash tonight. So it's like almost 11 p.m. here, so I better make the goulash so my cutie pie has something to eat for lunch tomorrow. But anyways, though, so that takes up our Arkansas myths and legends, and that means we're moving on to the next state. I don't know what that state is. I'm gonna have to look that up for you guys. All right, and what is next week? Death cults. That's what we're going to be doing for next week on Morbid Monday. We'll be talking about death cults from all around the world. And there's some real fucking creepy ones, right? So definitely come in next Monday and check out our list of death cults. All right. Oh, and then Wednesday, I'll be streaming again, 7 p.m. for Newsweek Wednesdays. And I don't know what I'm going to be doing for Newsweek Wednesdays. I kind of just pick that day, whatever's in the news that people are talking about. I learn about it, and that's what we do on Wednesday. So whatever crazy shit is happening out in the world Wednesday, that's what we'll be talking about. So that'll be Wednesday at 7 p.m. But until then, I'll probably let you guys go. Razor, as always, thanks for tuning into the channel and sitting and bullshitting with me, man. I always appreciate that. Oh, yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah, that's why a lot of bodybuilders, I don't know if you've seen it, but bodybuilders have to wear oxygen masks when they sleep because they got so much weight on their body that it crushes their lungs when they sleep. So, yeah, no, having more than the muscle than your your bones can handle is a very serious problem. Yeah. And the only reason you would ever get that big is if you're trying to be a bodybuilder, as far as muscle goes. If you're trying to be a bodybuilder or you're just a super fat ass, you know, that, I mean, it takes a lot of weight to get to that point. But, you know, a lot of people do in the bodybuilding world because they have this weird thing with like mass, and it's like, you know, yeah, it's an obsession. And I don't know how people get that obsessed with it neither. I think they just have good genetics and they enjoy it and they just blow up. You know what I mean? So it's, you know, that's, I guess, what it is. It's an addiction, really, is what it is. They just get addicted to it. You know, the same way some people get addicted to alcohol, you know, or nicotine or whatever. You know what I mean? Some people just get mentally addicted to working out and building muscle, and inevitably it ends up killing them. So steroids too, a lot of them don't get that big without steroids, and that adds to the breathing problems, heart problems, stuff like that too. So it's no good. You definitely don't want to be that big. Doesn't sound like you're trying to get that big though. You're just trying to get cut, look good, get the muscles, which is a lot easier and good for your body. Makes you feel good. You know, you're never going to have issues like that when you're just trying to stay reasonable with it. You know what I mean? So that's the way to be. But I'll probably let you guys go. I appreciate you hanging out, Razor, as always, sitting and chatting with me and hanging out. Oh, yeah, Sam Solik, he's one of them with his dirty bulking. Yeah, he does the dirty bulking, and that's not good for you neither. No, he also has incredible genetics, you know, and also does steroids too. So all three of those things, he builds way more muscle in a very short time span than most people reasonably could. So he's got his own thing going on. The dude is a fucking beast for sure. But yeah, you add the dirty bulk to all of that. Yeah, 23 years is fucking insane. He is way bigger than any 23-year-old I've ever met. It's absolutely insane. A part of that is just incredible genetics and steroids. But it's going to hurt him really bad. Again, I think it's because it's his claim to fame. You know what I mean? If I had to make a guess, I don't know Sam Solik, so I couldn't tell you why he does what he does. But I would assume it's his 15 minutes of fame. It's got him famous. So, you know, and he's made a career off of it. So now I feel like he probably has to, just because if he doesn't, then he loses out on that thing that made him famous, you know, and that's a bummer. But I think that's the corner that he painted himself into. You know, so I don't know, but I would guess that. Yeah, no, for sure. Well, yeah, there's a very distinct possibility he even dies before that. Absolutely. You know, in his 30s, even. It's very possible just because of all the strain he puts on his heart doing all that. You know, I can't imagine how bad his lipid profile must look, man. His cholesterol must be fucking jacked. Even more jacked than him. So we'll see though. Time will tell. But yeah, that would be a safe bet. If you wanted to make some money, I would bet on that poor guy being gone before he's 40, 45. So it is what it is. It's unfortunate, but people do that. So, but yeah, anyways. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna let you go, man. You have a good hour and 20 minutes around there at work. All right. Enjoy your last hour and 20 minutes at work and get a good breakfast when you get off work too, man. But I appreciate you hanging out on the stream as always and sitting and chatting about lifting weights. Always enjoy talking about that too, man. So anyways, appreciate you coming in. Anybody else who watched live, appreciate you stopping in too. And anybody who sees this on YouTube, I also appreciate your support. Thanks for tuning in, and make sure to come back Wednesday at 7 p.m. and I'll be right here. So you guys take it easy. Have a wonderful night, and I'll see you then. Peace.